Are you alright? Perhaps you should rest.
No, I'm fine. We can't afford to stop. I'll be alright. I wiped the sweat from my brow, took a deep breath, and forced my throbbing feet to move. We were on our way to Yodo Castle, under orders from Hijikata. A castle located in the Yodo domain. It is built at the confluence of the Kizu, Katsura, and Uji rivers. The Shinsengumi was doing poorly, so we'd been dispatched to bring reinforcements. Do you really think the people at Yodo Castle will help us out?
They have to. We need the help. And so does Hijikata. He can't lose. I never want to see him like that again.
I remember the Battle of Fushimi all too clearly. Oh, this music. On the evening of the third day of the new year, the war began. Cannons pounded the Fushimi magistrate's office, and the ground shook with each impact.
Hijikata, we can't take any more of this. That cannon up on the hill is tearing us apart. If we try and go up there, their guns will mow us down before we can even get close. Their rifles have impressive range, and the gunners are skilled. 1 out of every 2 shots finds its mark, despite the distance. Where's Shinpachi? I can't find him. He took 15 men from the 2nd Division to attack the enemy line. Attack the enemy line? Is he insane? He's gonna die out there!
I could see muscles working in Hijikata's jaw, but he said nothing. His face was pale, although whether from fear or tension I couldn't tell. Outside, the roar of the cannons continued unabated. Just when it seemed certain that Nagakura must have perished. What?
Hey guys, I'm back. Shinpachi!
Cries of surprise filled the room.
You're alive! What, do I look like I'm a ghost? Go ahead and touch me if you don't believe it.
He grinned as he wiped a thick smear of blood and dirt from his face.
Anyway, it's impossible to get to the enemy line. Some Aizu guys went on ahead of us, but I heard they got pushed back too. Commander, there's nothing else we can do. Please, order the retreat.
His brow furrowed and he scowled furiously.
Whoa! What's this? Where's the smoke coming from? The cannon must have set the building on fire. We need to get out of here or we're dead. Hijikata, we have to retreat.
Even Nagakura's pleas seemed to fall on deaf ears.
Toshi.
Until this moment, the Shinsengumi had never known defeat in battle, but they were helpless against the firearms of the Satsuma and Choshu. The Shinsengumi was Hijikata's life. Defeat was hard to accept. After what seemed like an eternity, he let out a long, ragged sigh. I guess this is the end. Nobody can win a war with swords and spears anymore. His knuckles turned white. There were several more minutes of tense, breathless silence before he finally looked up, his eyes burning with fury. We're pulling back, but we haven't lost. They'll pay for this. Fury wasn't the only thing in those eyes. Behind them I could see a bitter, desperate agony. Poor Toshi. I've been with him for a long time. I know how hard it was for the man to admit we had to retreat. One loss is enough. I'm not nearly as good a swordsman as Kondo. What? No, don't say... He interrupted me with a kind smile and continued. But there are still ways for me to be of use to the Shinsengumi. So let's keep our hopes up, shall we? Okay. The Shinsengumi and Kondo and Hijikata needed my help. I had to do whatever I could. It took us several hours to reach Yodo Castle. Hijikata's hope was to use the castle as a new staging area, where he could garrison our troops and launch ambushes from. Unfortunately... That's weird. Why are the gates closed? Do you think they're already preparing for battle? There were no guards outside the castle anywhere we could see. It was uncomfortably quiet.
No.
He stood for a moment, absently rubbing his chin in thought, before finally making a decision.
We are here on the orders of the Shogun. We have come to request your help in battle against the rebels who would dare challenge this country's rightful rulers.
His voice echoed out through the stillness, but no one responded. I had almost begun to think the castle was simply abandoned when... Oh look! There's someone in that window! Huh? They've got something shiny... Oh no.
Get down!
Huh? Inoue grabbed me by the wrist and pulled me. Gunshots echoed from the castle walls. My eyes darted around, but there were no rebels nearby. That meant that the bullets were meant for us. What's going on? I thought the Yodo were friendly. The domain governed by the Inaba clan. During the Bakumatsu period, their daimyo was one of the shogun's executive ministers, but he was not in the Battle of Toba Fushimi.
Either they've already been overrun by the rebels, or they don't want to ally with the side they think is going to lose. We need to get back to the men. It's dangerous to stay here.
But Hijikata told us to get reinforcements from Yodo. Inoue only shook his head.
It's clear by now that they're no longer our allies. The longer we stay here, the more danger I put you in.
But if we leave, then what's going to happen to Hijikata? What's going to happen to the Shinsengumi? Let's just try and talk to them. If we explain what's going on, I'm sure they'll understand. I'd never seen Inoue glare at me before, but it was warranted.
That is enough. I want to go back to Toshi with reinforcements as much as you do. But my job here was twofold. To ask for reinforcements and to protect you. If something happens to you now, then I will have failed him twice. Now come on.
There was nothing I could say. Inoue had fought alongside Hijikata since their first days in Edo, before the Shinsengumi. He had undoubtedly felt even more devastated by Yodo's betrayal than I had, but he had still chosen to retreat so that he might protect me. Never before had I felt so ashamed and so helpless. There was nothing I could do. I'm sorry. I'm useless. I failed. Tears welled up in my eyes and I brushed them away roughly.
Don't worry about it. After all, this is Toshi we're talking about. I'm sure he'll come up with some amazing plan and turn this whole thing around.
He laid his hand on my shoulder and gave it a gentle, reassuring squeeze. I focused on the warmth of his hand and felt myself begin to calm down. What a time for this conversation. Your hand is warm, by the way, as we're getting shot. Your hand is warm. It reminds me of when my father used to pat me on the head when I was a little girl.
Father, huh? I guess if I'd had a daughter, she would be your age right about now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong?
Oh, no, not at all. I would have been honored to have a daughter like you.
Oh, don't say that. That means you're gonna die, like, in the next couple seconds. No, don't say this.
No, we should be going. I'm sure the men we left behind will get worried if we aren't back soon.
Okay. Don't you die on me yet. Don't you die on me. I know you died last time. What? We were nearly to the location where we'd left the rest of the soldiers, but something felt wrong. Wait. Weren't they supposed to be here? There wasn't a single soul around. Did we get lost?
No, we couldn't have. It should be just up ahead.
Then, as we rounded the corner, I noticed something lying on the ground. Inoue! There's someone over here!
No. Impossible. The rebels couldn't have gotten here already.
He's wearing Shinsengumi blues. Could he...
Stay quiet. We don't want to give ourselves away.
I nodded. Could the Satsuma Choshu Alliance already have troops here? If they did, they were hiding them very well. Neither Inoue nor I could sense anyone nearby. No rebels, but no Shinsengumi either. Ah! Then we came around another bend in the road and I gasped. Warriors in the blue jackets of the Shinsengumi were piled up along the road, dead where they'd fallen. And standing in the middle of this carnage... Oh, snap! Well, well, well. So you showed up again before the end, huh?
I thought these men looked familiar. You are here.
Kazuma's smile was a cruel, mocking thing. You! Why? I was so furious I could barely speak.
To see what the Yodo domain had decided to do. It seems following tedious politics has at last paid off. I never thought I might find you.
I felt his eyes on me, like those of a snake staring down its prey, before they shifted to take the ground around him.
I thought they might entertain me until you returned, but they weren't even skilled enough to do that.
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Inoue shake with rage. Most of the men who lay dead on the ground in front of us were members of his 6th Division. And now, because I had chosen to stay with the Shinsengumi, Kazuma had returned and Inoue's men were dead. Kazuma had taken their lives, and for what?
I was otherwise engaged during our last encounter, Chizuru. But this time, you will be leaving with me, Chizuru.
Kazuma had demonic powers that put him in a class above any mortal man. 2 skilled swordsmen, working in concert, might be able to hold him back, but not defeat him. Inoue and I would not be able to defeat him, nor, as I'd suspected, would he allow us to escape. If I surrendered to him, however, then he might let Inoue leave. I stepped forward and steeled myself. Yeah, Inoue's not going to, though. He promised Hijikata that he wouldn't let... he would protect you! Ah, what a sucky situation!
Stay back.
Inoue moved forward to put himself between me and Kazuma. Inoue? I had a bad feeling about this. What are you doing?
I'm sorry, but you'll have to run for it. Get back to headquarters and tell Toshi. Tell him that I apologize for my incompetence, and that I hope he will forgive me for not staying with him to the end. Tell him that I don't have the words to thank him for giving a man like me the chance to be a part of something. I'll never forget what he did for me.
No! I can't do that! I won't just leave you here to die! This man is after me! If I go with him, then you can live! Please! Inoue's smile was bitter.
Well, well. Are you suggesting I should use a girl for a shield so that I can escape? How could I call myself a warrior then? Besides, what parent wouldn't lay down their life to protect their child? No father wants to see his daughter die before he does.
Inoue, no! This is breaking my heart! But... Inoue had finished talking, though. He turned his back to me and drew his sword. Suddenly I remembered the conversation we'd had on the way back from Yodo Castle. He told me that he was old enough to have a daughter my age. No, I cried to myself, that doesn't mean he has to do this! How could he throw his life away? Please, Inoue, run! I screamed and pleaded, but his back didn't move.
Finish with your farewells. Then I'll give you a chance to take her up on her offer. Go on. Run.
Kazuma let his hand fall from the hilt of his undrawn sword. Inoue,
Yo!
Inoue launched himself at Kazuma and swung his sword in a wide arc toward the demon's neck. Kazuma's sword slithered out of its scabbard, too fast for the eye to follow. His hand simply blurred, and the tip of his blade emerged from Inoue's back. Blood burbled out between his lips. Inoue! He fell to his knees, the deep red stain rapidly devouring the light blue of his jacket. Kazuma's eyes flickered like sparks, and he bent down to whisper to Inoue.
Is something the matter, human? Aren't the men I just slaughtered your subordinates? Don't you want to take revenge for them? I understood warriors put great stock in avenging the deaths of their comrades in arms.
Inoue glared back at him with white-hot rage. He reached into the pocket in his kimono and was taking something out. It was... no. Oh.
Water of life, huh? Pathetic till the end. You are despicable. You are barely worth the air you breathe at this point. Go on ahead. Feel pain as you die.
Inoue lifted the tip of the lid, attempting to drink the water of life, but then... Kazuma simply laughed and stepped easily around Inoue's swinging sword. I didn't even see him strike. There was only the momentary flicker of sunlight on a blade, and blood erupted from a gash across Inoue's chest. The bottle dropped to the ground and broke.
My apologies. I may have hit a little too hard. Gah!
He ground his teeth, trying desperately to overcome the pain, and turned his strained gaze to me.
What are you doing? Run!
His face looked intense like a demon as he shouted at me. I scrambled to my feet and turned to leave.
My. Of all the humans I fought, you are by far the weakest. Why would the Shinsengumi allow someone so pathetic among their ranks, I wonder? Though I suppose they are rather... eccentric.
Hearing Kazuma's cold laugh behind me, I felt something inside me snap. Stop! Don't! As I cried out, I heard the awful sound of steel slicing through flesh. Time slowed to a crawl, and I could do nothing but watch as Inoue fell without a cry to the ground. Inoue! Inoue! Even as part of my mind screamed at me to run, I scrambled toward him, grabbing for his hand. It was still warm. A warmth like my father. But Inoue's eyes no longer saw. His ears no longer heard. He had joined his men among the corpses on the road.
Now, this past is dealt with. There is no one else to save you.
You obviously have not been paying attention. My boo knows when I'm in trouble, and he will be here, so don't get so cocky.
No, putting up a fight would be a waste. Come with me now. You are fated to be my wife.
He flicked his sword clean and sheathed it. Then he stepped forward and reached for my hand. It's too late for us to run. He is, so easily gonna catch us. I'd rather try and inflict some pain before I'm carted off somewhere, if that's how the story is going to end. We're too valuable for him to kill us. So, that's my reasoning anyway. Inoue had told me to run. Hijikata needed to hear his last words, and I was in no position to fight a demon. I knew all this, and I could hear a part of my mind screaming at me to run, but the roaring flames of rage drowned it out. How could I have let him die to protect me? Inoue was so kind. Just looking at his lifeless body sprawled in the dirt made my heart feel as though it would shatter into 1,000 pieces. But more than anything, I hated Kazuma for killing my friend as if he was nothing more than an irritating insect. I grabbed desperately for my kodachi and pulled it from its scabbard, bringing it up into an attack position.
I thought you were smarter than this. But I see now your time with the humans has poisoned your mind. You disappoint me.
So sorry. Shut up! Hot tears rolled down my cheeks.
Why are you so upset? Does it bother you that I swatted this fly? He was a human, and he was foolish enough to challenge a demon. What other outcome could there have been?
Shut up! Shut up! Never in my life had I spoken to someone like that. But never in my life had I so wanted to kill someone. If only I had been able to transform my wrath into strength, I would have been the strongest creature alive. You! I can never forgive you for what you've done! Please, Inoue, give me the strength to strike him down. I tightened my grip on my sword, my knuckles white, and leapt toward Kazuma with a yell. Ah! Contemptuously, he slapped my strike aside. My kodachi flew out of my hands and clattered to the ground. I reached out to grab it again. Ah! You and your wrists. Kazuma's foot came down on my arm and pain shot through it.
Enough of this stupid game.
His red, arrogant eyes burned into mine. The eyes of the monster who had killed Inoue.
You do not seem to understand who your master is. That is unfortunate. Perhaps I should punish you, so that you will never defy me again.
I felt the cold steel of his sword on my throat.
Pain is an excellent tool for discipline. Fortunately, your body heals very quickly.
Damn you! I glared at Kazuma with all the anger I could muster, but all I got in return was a cruel smile. Inoue had told me to run, but I hadn't, and now I couldn't. Kazuma was right about one thing. I couldn't escape from him. We couldn't have if we tried to run anyway. I think we actually bought more time for ourselves by trying to fight him. If I couldn't escape, then at least I could refuse to give him the satisfaction of a compliant victim. If all you're going to do is use me however you like, then I might as well bite off my tongue and drown in my own blood. That's my boy! That's my boy! He always knows when I need him. I love Toshi so much.
Don't remember giving you permission to do that. And I don't care much for people who can't follow orders.
The moment I heard that voice, my head suddenly cleared. There was no way I could mistake it. It was the Demon Commander. Hijikata! I felt tears spring to my eyes again, but for a very different reason. This was no dream, no hallucination. Toshizo Hijikata stood in front of me.
Damn it. I had a feeling you guys were in trouble, but...
He stopped just as his voice was about to crack and simply looked at Inoue's body, his face twisted with grief and regret. Hijikata's jaw tightened and his breath shook as if he were about to cry. His originally cold eyes were changed. They shone now with the brilliant fires of rage. With tight, deliberate purpose, he gripped his sword, the Izuminakami Kanasada. Toshizo Hijikata's favorite sword, it was the work of an 11th generation Kamisada swordsmith. Wow. It whispered through the air as he raised it to an attack stance.
Another human who wishes to throw his life away. It is difficult for me to understand why your kind is so anxious to die. I was hoping I'd seen the last of this idiocy. Very well. Let's get this over with.
Kazuma's voice was bored, but as he spoke, the fire in Hijikata's eyes grew into a raging furnace.
Throw his life away, you piece of shit! How dare you say he threw his life away!
Hijikata roared in wordless fury and launched himself towards Kazuma. With all of his weight behind the blade, he struck at the demon's neck. Kazuma flicked his sword up to catch Hijikata's. For a moment, it looked as though they were evenly matched. Whoa! That's a face I haven't seen on Kazuma before. And then Kazuma was thrown back.
What?
From the look on his face, it was likely the first time he'd ever found himself overpowered by a human, and he was stunned. Hijikata didn't let that opening go to waste. He pushed forward, his sword hissing back and forth through the air as if possessed. Wow. Go Toshi! Do I have to click? I don't want anything to be ruined. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Come on. There we go. Oh, it was so quiet. What was that? Oh my god! Can I look like that too? Wait, can Chizuru look like this too? Because if so, that is super cool!
I never thought I would show this form to a mere human. Be honored, mortal. The moment your eyes behold a true demon is the moment of your death.
And with that, the battle changed. Gah! Kazuma's sword hummed and flickered through the air with ease, far faster and smoother than it had been a minute before. It was all Hijikata could do to anticipate and block his strikes, leaving him no time to try and land an offensive blow of his own.
Where's the fire you had a moment ago? Is this the most you can muster for the dead insect?
Kazuma's demonic strength and endurance were beginning to show. He wasn't even breathing hard. Damn! Hijikata, however, was running short of breath. All Kazuma had to do was tire him out, and... God damn it! He threw his full strength behind his sword and lunged at Kazuma one more time. The demon anticipated his blow easily, and twisted to the side as Hijikata's blade swept past him. Gah! Kazuma's hand snapped out and Hijikata's sword fell, clattering to the ground. Hijikata! I picked up my Kodachi from the floor. Instinctively, I charged towards Kazuma, hoping it would help even a little, but...
Stay out of my way.
Did he just punch us? Ah! Oh, he kicked us. Kazuma kicked me and I fell to the floor. Ah! In my mind's eye, I could already see him, crumpling to the dirt, just as Inoue had done. Damn it! Hijikata was huffing loudly, reaching for the sword that was knocked out of his hands just a second ago. Ugh. He fell to his knees, his chest heaving. Sweat rolled down his forehead in streams, and the cloth of his shirt was soaked. Kazuma lifted his sword and pointed it at Hijikata.
This is the end for you.
His mouth curved up into a cold, confident smile.
Humans are such fools. They will try to fight what they know they cannot defeat. I call that recklessness, not courage. You have underestimated the power of a demon, and chosen not to fear us. I hope your last thoughts are of shame at your ignorance.
As Kazuma spoke, Hijikata dragged his tired body across the ground toward his fallen sword.
What's this? Trying to run.
Hijikata had reached his sword. With the last ounce of strength he possessed, he lifted it up once again and turned to face his foe.
You won't bow, will you? I've made a fool of you, and yet you refuse to acknowledge the difference between us.
No. Hijikata was not the sort of man to care about a difference in strength. but neither was he the sort of man that would simply abandon victory. So why then had he not responded? Oh no, don't do it, dude, no! As I watched, he pulled out something from inside his shirt. Ah! A tiny bottle filled with red liquid.
The water of life, eh? How far do you mean to take this idiocy?
Hijikata replied with a toothy grin.
I'm an idiot, huh? Like I give a shit what you think. We were always a pack of idiots. We shared an idiot's dream that we were all too bullheaded to give up on. And now here we are. We're halfway up the hill. If we stumble now, we're gonna fall all the way back down. Even if you become a fury, you'll be nothing more than a faded reflection of a true demon.
Hijikata's grin never wavered.
Well, you never know till you try.
Hijikata, no! My cries fell on deaf ears. Hijikata lifted the bottle to his lips and drank. Oh boy. My poor boy. In Hijikata's place, there was now a white-haired demon.
Shut up.
Hijikata's voice rumbled out from the fury, dark and low like approaching thunder. Shh. Hijikata became a fury after drinking the water of life.
I've had enough of those fucking cowards in the shogunate, and I'm sick of you goddamn demons. So I'm not a real demon? Why the hell should I care? Never once in my whole stinking life have they treated me like a real warrior.
His eyes burned with anger.
But hell, where are you supposed to find a real warrior these days? Lot of men calling themselves samurai, when all they do is sit behind 10 feet of stone in a castle and get fat. Only thing those sons of bitches care about is making sure the side they buddy up to is the side that's gonna win. We're better soldiers than any of those bastards!
Hijikata's words weren't just for Kazuma anymore. They were for Inoue, who had sacrificed himself in battle, for the shogunate and the counselors who didn't have the courage to make the difficult decisions, and for everyone who had ever refused to treat the Shinsengumi as true warriors. I believe what I believe. Nothing can change that. And I will never, ever retreat. That's what brought us this far. Call us fake if you want, but if we push hard enough and don't give up, eventually we become what we say we are. If I can defeat you now, as a fury, then then we can become real demons. Right? The predatory grin on Hijikata's face wasn't human. Whoa, that was magical! When he leapt at Kazuma, he moved so fast that I could barely even see him. He'd been impressive as a human, but as a fury? He was beyond belief. Someone looks worried again.
Gah!
Kazuma smashed aside the first attack, but a second followed it almost immediately, and then a third. Blow after blow crashed against his defenses, giving him no time to even breathe. That is really scary. He's lost it. He's gone nuts. Oh no.
Come on, that's all you've got? I thought we were just ants for you to crush. Where's your smart mouth now, demon?
Hijikata's eyes flashed like a great beast closing in on its prey, and he lunged at Kazuma. With an effort, he managed to swing his blade up in time to catch Hijikata's, but he'd lost the advantage of superior strength.
Gah!
His sword rebounded from Hijikata's strike, and Kazuma was forced back. Hijikata leapt for the opening. Woo! He drew blood.
Ugh!
Hijikata's sword moved too fast for the eye to see. A line of blood simply appeared on Kazuma's face. He clapped a hand to it in surprise and pain, and jumped back, trying to put space between them. Great. Looks like you're finally getting into it. You look like a man now. How's it feel to get cut by a fake? Kazuma didn't even seem to hear Hijikata's words. He simply stared, eyes wide, at the blood that fell from his face to pool in his hand. Even as I watched, his wounds close themselves. The stream of blood slowed to a trickle and then stopped.
Damn you!
Though the wound itself had disappeared, it seemed the ramifications had not.
How dare you! False demon! Insect! Scum! How dare you draw my blood!
It must have been the first time he'd ever been wounded by a human. Kazuma's preternaturally calm face was distorted now by rage and disgust. It was the first time I had ever seen him truly look like a demon.
I will never forgive you for this. I will torture you until you beg for death. You will learn what it truly means to feel pain. At last, we get to see the real Kazuma. Fine. Come at me. I dare you to kill me.
He bared his teeth in a wicked smile. Their swords collided with a resounding clash.
Gah!
Kazuma had been strong before, but now his blows landed with all the strength of a cannon. Veins stood out on Hijikata's neck and forehead as he strained against the onslaught.
Damn you! You are nothing! Not even a shadow of a demon. How dare you draw my blood!
Kazuma had gone mad with rage, his golden eyes wide and bloodshot.
Bastard!
Every time their swords met, I could see Hijikata's chip and shake. It looked as if the next blow could break it in two. Take my Kadachi! Hijikata tried desperately to block with the back of the blade and protect it from more damage, but Kazuma's strikes were too quick, too powerful. Hatred rolled off of them in waves. Neither of them would be satisfied with simply killing the other.
I'll never forgive you, you arrogant son of a bitch! You're going to hell even if I gotta drag you there myself!
His clothes were soaked with blood, but eyes lit with vigor and determination shone out from beneath his white hair.
Ha! Go to hell if you like, but you'll be going alone.
They leapt at each other like enraged animals, blows flying so quickly that they could only defend or attack on instinct. It was clear that the battle would only end when one of them was dead, but it was rapidly becoming clear that Hijikata was fighting in a way that put him at a disadvantage. Ah! Back home, he'd always been so calm, even in the heat of battle, but cool detachment had fled with his humanity. I had to stop them. If I didn't, Hijikata would die, but awe and terror at their display of violence and skill had sealed my voice in my throat. Even though I was a demon, just like Kazuma, I was helpless. It was maddening.
Yukimura?
I heard footsteps pounding along the path and spun around to find the source of that familiar voice. Yamazaki's always here!
The commander left to go see how things had gone with the Yodo, and he hasn't returned. Have you seen him?
Yamazaki! His timing couldn't have been better. In that moment, Yamazaki looked like an angel. We're in trouble. Hijikata's fighting a demon. And Inoue is... Yamazaki stared at me for only a moment before he glanced past my shoulder and saw the battle raging there. His eyes widened in shock and horror.
What's going on here? That white-haired demon. Is that a fury? No. Those clothes, they're... Oh my god!
That's Hijikata. He drank the water of life.
No! Huh!
With a dull twang, the sword leapt out of Hijikata's hands and clattered to the ground.
This battle is mine. Though I am impressed that you lasted so long with such a dull sword. Gah.
Hijikata kept low to the ground and slowly began to move away. Kazuma followed just as slowly, his grin widening at Hijikata's apparent fear.
I hope you haven't forgotten that I don't intend to simply kill you. Eventually you'll die, of course, but not before I've inflicted on you all the pain I can imagine.
The advantage once again his, Kazuma's calm had returned.
When I'm finished, I'll skin you alive and send your head back to your beloved Shinsengumi. They deserve to see you at your, best. To start, though, I think I'll take off your arms. Then feed them to stray dogs.
Did you grab my sword? Kazuma hefted his sword, its blade still clean and undamaged. Hijikata! I screamed as loud as I could, some irrational part of me hoping that might change the outcome. No! Come on! A horrible wet sound filled my ears.
What?
I looked up. Blood had splattered across the front of Kazuma's shirt, but Hijikata was unharmed. Did Yamazaki put himself in the way? Yamazaki, don't die on me! Stop this madness! Everyone stop dying!
What are you doing, Commander? You are the head of the Shinsengumi. Where are your arms and legs? Why are you running off to face the enemy alone? Yamazaki, what are you saying?
His voice shook. Yamazaki smiled back, his eyes shining as I'd seen them do when he and Hijikata were discussing important secrets.
If you lose an arm or a leg, you can always replace it. But if you lose the head, you lose everything. The chief and the commander. The two of you make a whole.
Yamazaki! With that, he went limp, the last of his energy exhausted, and crumpled to the ground. Blood pooled beneath him, turning the packed dirt a deep red. Yamazaki! I grabbed a hold of him as if that might somehow bring him back to consciousness.
Yamazaki. Why?
His hair had slowly begun to shift back to its original color, and as I watched, he struggled to blink back tears.
Hey, Hijikata! Yamazaki! Gen! Where are you guys?
Nagakora's voice echoed through the forest from some distance away.
Damn it! More are coming. I should just finish you off now.
Kazuma lifted his sword and made to swing it down when out of nowhere a hulking form appeared between us.
Stop. Any further battles will only lead to unnecessary casualties. Are you ordering me to retreat? Am I supposed to let this worm who dared to cut my face simply go free? Killing him would be easy enough for you, but to do so would go against the wishes of the Satsuma domain. Ultimately, they desire for the shogunate to fall by their hand, not the hand of a demon. Gah.
His tone made it clear how little he thought of that desire, but his commitment to obedience was clearly greater. Kazuma wasn't pleased with Amagiri's interruption, but he seemed to feel that it was pointless to argue over the matter with his fellow demon.
Hijikata, was it? I will not forget that name. I will have my revenge.
Same to you. I won't be able to sleep at night until I've sent your soul to the afterlife.
They glared at one another with such hate I felt as if they might spontaneously combust. Then Kazuma spun on his heel and followed Amagiri off into the forest. No sooner had they disappeared.
Hey, there you... Hijikata, what the hell's going on? There's dead men all over the place. Did you run into some rebels? No, those are sword cuts.
Go look at Yamazaki. I think he's still alive.
What?
Nagakora stared in horror and sudden realization at Yamazaki's limp body.
What happened here? Come on, Yamazaki, hang in there! This is bad. Chizuru, what's going to happen to Yamazaki? Don't tell me...
Yamazaki will... Judging by the severity of his wounds, I could hazard a guess as to what would happen, but... I couldn't bring myself to say it aloud because I felt like it would seal his fate.
Answer us! What's going to happen to Yamazaki? Don't tell me he's...
Does anyone have any clean cloths?
Here, if you need cloth, take this. He needs it more than I do.
Thank you. I'll borrow it. Also, I need some sake to clean the wounds. Preferably shochu.
Yeah, shochu. I don't know where to look. There is a nearby stream that is flowing with clean water. Allow me to retrieve some. No, I'll go. I can handle it myself. I'm leaving Yamazaki in your hands, Chizuru.
Nagakura rushed and ran up the mountain.
Commander, what happened here?
Hijikata didn't even seem to hear him.
I never thought I would sacrifice my own men so that I could survive. Sacrifice? Inoue's body is over there. Can you give me a hand burying him? His men, too.
It gets cold this time of year. Can't leave him out there to freeze.
I knew that he wanted to break down and cry more than any of us, but in front of his men he struggled to grin and joke. It was just too much! I felt myself begin to sob, but I couldn't bear to do it in front of Inoue and Yamazaki, so I buried my face in my hands and the tears flowed soundlessly. Inoue had given his life to save mine. Hijikata had become a fury to fight the demon who'd chased me across Kyoto. Yamazaki had taken a blow that might well end his life to protect Hijikata. What could I possibly do for them? How could I atone for my sins? I thought about it for a long time, but no answers came.